Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us today for the next webinar in our What's New series. First of all, let me say Happy New Year to you all, and I hope you've managed to rest up over the Christmas break. In today's webinar, we'll cover some of the newest features in Microsoft 365 that you can implement for your business, as well as covering some brand new features that are coming up in the next few months as well. Now, don't feel like you need to make notes or take it all in straight away, as we'll be sending out a recording of the webinar and a follow-up fact sheet later today. Also, if you have any questions, then please feel free to drop them into the Q&A box at the side at any time. I'll do my best to try and keep an eye on those as we go along, but there's also going to be dedicated time for questions at the end of the webinar. So let's look at the agenda for today. First up, resize Microsoft Teams windows, record and share videos in Teams channels, forward messages to and from Teams channels, customize Microsoft Teams notification location, new web content toggle option for Copilot, and I'll also cover several smaller updates, quality of life stuff for Copilot and Outlook users. And then, of course, what's next? So let's start with an introduction. It's good to see so many people coming back and joining us again, and welcome, of course, to all of the new faces as well. My name is Craig Mundy, and I'm the Marketing Campaign Executive at Bedroq. You might recognize my voice from other videos on our website or YouTube channel as well. Bedroq is an IT managed service provider and Microsoft Solutions partner for modern work. This means that most of the IT that we implement is based on the Microsoft stack. So that includes things like Microsoft 365, Teams, Azure, etc. We're also experts in secure, resilient networks and managed IT solutions where high performance is critical. We work with organizations that have some of the highest security requirements in the UK, and we manage their mission critical IT and operational technology for them as well. The most important thing that we want to achieve, no matter what it is that your organization does, is to make sure that your IT strategy is supporting your business as a whole. And we do this with the help of our 8 strategic rocks that you can see here on the slide. Data, skills, backup, strategy, investment, security, quality of service, and collaboration. Now, of course, the collaboration rock is the focus of this webinar series, as most of the 365 apps that we talk about are collaboration tools. Now, many people that we come across have invested heavily into their IT. They've got fancy apps and they've got the best Microsoft licenses, but they're not using them to their full potential, and therefore not seeing the best return on investment. So really, that's the aim of this webinar series, to keep you up to date with everything that's coming out and everything that you can start to implement that you've probably already got access to, and hopefully make a big difference to your business strategy. So the first few features we're talking about today are going to be based in Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft are introducing the ability to adjust the width of the different panels within Teams. Their update specifies that the main Teams window, the chat window, and the meeting stage will all be able to be adjusted. But from that same update, it sort of implies that the other windows or panels within Teams will also be able to be adjusted. So things, for example, you could have the chat list on the left, and then the chat window itself, and then on the right, perhaps something like Copilot. Although I have to say, I can't confirm this 100% one way or the other right now. Now, I don't know about you, but I use Teams on a small laptop screen rather than one of my connected monitors. And sometimes it can just feel a little bit cramped, and maybe that's my own doing there, but it can especially feel that way when you've got the extra Copilot panel expanded and notifications popping up over the chat as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to being able to adjust these as necessary. I know that initially this may not seem like the most impactful update, but any update that gives you the flexibility to work how you want to will start to create value over time as you figure out what's best for you and while you play around with the different layouts. Additionally, with this update, you will also be able to resize the entire Microsoft Teams application window, which currently has a limit of how small you can make it. Microsoft said that this update will enhance accessibility with better zooming capabilities as well. Now, this is a great addition to the one I've just talked about, the ability to change the size of the panels. Together, it lets you create a workspace that suits you. So for example, you could have Teams full screen with the panels adjusted, or perhaps you could have a more compact Teams window, which would allow you to multitask with other applications or windows that you've got open side by side. This update is initially due on Windows 11 and macOS desktops. Now, the targeted release will be this month, but quick aside note, targeted release is something that your organization needs to register for to be able to access these latest features before they get released to the general public. So unfortunately, at the moment, there isn't a date set for the general public to get this update, but if you're interested, I will be sure to let you know more when I find out more as well. Sticking with Teams, you will soon be able to record short video clips and share it within a Teams channel. Some of you may be thinking just now that this looks awfully familiar, and well, that's because we can already do this, but only within Teams chats. So the clip that you're seeing now is how it works within the chat functionality, but I'm sure it will be much the same. As you can see, you're able to record clips of yourself with audio, but don't worry, this clip doesn't actually have any audio, so you're not missing anything there. Additionally, you can record your screen or even just your audio. You'll be able to record and share these clips as part of a new post or even a reply within a channel. As far as I'm aware, this update will only apply to Teams for Windows, macOS desktop, and Teams on the web. It's not 100% clear whether the feature will have the same limitations as the chat variant, but if it does, you'll only be able to record up to 1 minute of footage. But then you can trim it as necessary and send, and obviously you can record as many clips as you want to as well. Now, I'm sure we all have that one friend that likes to leave us voice notes rather than texting us because it's just easier for them, only for you to receive a 5-minute long ramble as they forgot why they actually started the recording in the first place. So there's a silver lining. At least with the 1 minute limit, maybe we won't get stuck with the same situation with some of our colleagues as well. But on a more serious note, this is a very useful feature in chats already. So being able to do this across channels as well is really a no-brainer from Microsoft. In particular, the screen recording function is ideal for quickly showing the steps of changing, say, a setting, or to demonstrate a quick proof of concept of a presentation or a web page without needing to find time to jump into a call with one or multiple people. Furthermore, being able to put these directly into a Teams channel could, for example, be useful for onboarding new employees, meaning you could record, I don't know, a series of short clips about how to navigate your SharePoint or your file structures. And then you can put all of these clips into one place. And anytime someone new joins the organization, it'll save you some time because you just point them in one direction and then all the information's there. Perhaps you could even use this function as a quick way to introduce yourself to new members of the team rather than, again, having to arrange the one-to-one or group calls. Obviously, these things are better done live and in person, but with remote working and people working all around the globe, different time zones, etc., this could be a way to kind of get around that. I'll quickly just take you through how the function might actually look when the update is released as well. In this example, I'll use a new post in a channel. So head to the channel that you want to post in, click Start a Post, and then you need to find the plus sign, which is named the Actions and Apps menu that's at the bottom of the Compose box, and then simply click Record Video Clip. Then this is the next little bit is an assumption, as I don't have access to it yet, but it should open a screen like you see on the right-hand side. This screenshot is from the chat variation of this function, and I'm assuming it's going to be much the same, if not identical. So you can then see along the bottom, there's 6 different settings, which I'll just quickly walk through as well. So firstly, you make sure that the right camera and microphone are selected, as it doesn't always use the default ones or the ones that you've previously set up. And then you can select which screen you wish to record if you're going to do a screen recording as well. Then you can choose your backdrop, so whether it's a company one or simply blurred like I've got in the screenshot or just now. There's also the additional ability to write a script so that it appears as an overlay and scrolls like a teleprompter, meaning that it might look a bit more like you're looking at the camera if that's necessary for the clip that you're filming. But don't worry, the script doesn't actually get captured in the recording. And lastly, you can use the effects option to choose something like the draw function if you're wanting to circle or highlight something during your recording as well. So you've finished recording your clip and then you've trimmed it down to make it the length that you want or to cut out any mistakes that you've made. And then it will put the video into the compose box. So you're still able to write additional text or edit the rest of the post before you post it into the channel. So this will be a great feature as some things are just easier to demonstrate than they are to put into words on a call or to write down in an email or message. Perhaps it'll even save you some time down the line having to explain things multiple times as well, as you can just reshare the video clip. This feature is due mid to late January, so hopefully anytime soon. Along the same lines as this previous feature, this one we can already actually do in chats, but soon we'll be able to do it between channels as well. And that is forwarding messages between Teams channels. The ability to forward any message between one-to-one and group chats already proves as a quick time save here or there when you're trying to provide some context or save you rewriting or copying and pasting the message or it getting confused. You can send it straight from the person that wrote it. So being able to do this within channels will also inevitably save us a bit of time, where messages or even entire posts can sometimes get lost. If you've got lots of members participating in the discussions, it can keep bumping those posts up and get lost. So I'll just quickly walk you through the process for forwarding messages within Teams channels. So firstly, find the message that you wish to, or the post that you wish to forward, hover your mouse over it, and then the reactions and three-dot menu will appear, as you can see in by the number 1 on this screenshot. Note, you will need to see the top of the message to be able to see these settings, so just make sure that you scroll up just a little bit if you can't see them coming up. And then once you've clicked on the three-dot menu, you'll get another menu that you can see highlighted by the number 2, and then just click on forward. This will then open up a new pop-out window, and there will be a box highlighted by the number 3, where you can type in the same, any name of a one-to-one chat or a group chat or another channel. As you're typing, suggested chats and channels will appear in a drop-down menu where you can then click on the one you want to select. If it has the same functionality as forwarding messages in chats, which I assume it will, you will be able to type in multiple chats or channels after you've selected it in the menu. So type in marketing, click on marketing, type in Craig, click on Craig, and then you can send it off to multiple different people or channels at the same time. And then you just click forward and Microsoft Teams will do the rest. This functionality will be particularly useful, as I say, if you are able to send it to multiple chats and channels at the same time, as it will again save you time copying and pasting the messaging individually as well. This feature is due mid-January, so again, presumably anytime now. Excuse me. Next up, we have a smaller feature, but it ties in with some of these other features that I've discussed about customizing your teams. So Microsoft is set to roll out an update that will give us the ability to choose the location of notifications on our screens. So what I mean by that is when you get a Teams message or notification, you get that little box that pops up in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen with a preview of the message and who it is from. But with this new update, you'll be able to set whether it appears in the bottom right by default, top right, bottom left, or top left. And to do so, all you need to do is navigate your way to the settings menu, which you can do by clicking the three-dot menu that's next to your profile picture in the top right-hand side of your Teams. Then click on notifications and activity, then scroll down a bit until you find the display section. So this screenshot doesn't show you the exact settings because it's not been released yet. However, it should be in this section that you need to make your way to then be able to choose which corner you want the notifications to be in. As I said earlier, I tend to use Teams on a smaller screen, and occasionally when I'm trying to type a message and send it to one chat, I get notifications from other groups or channels, and it can pop up and get in the way. It's a minor inconvenience, and honestly, I'm not entirely sure how the other corners of the screen will improve that, or if they'll be any better or worse. But that being said, much like the earlier features, it gives you the option to change the way that you work within Microsoft Teams. So you can make the workspace your own, and that can go a long way in improving your productivity on a day-to-day basis. I assume that most of us probably won't change it, but again, it's great to have the option for more that, to be more customizable. And I'm all for these sorts of updates. This one is due from late January to mid-February. In the next month or so, you will be able to toggle Copilot's ability to use web content in its responses. As seems to be the theme of today, BizChat already has this option, but it's set to be more widely available across your applications using Copilot. This setting offers users control over whether they want real-time web content in Microsoft 365 Copilot responses. Additionally, there is also an admin setting. So if your IT admin disables web searches within their settings, then this toggle option won't be visible or accessible to users. So depending on your organization's policies and preferences, these settings might already be different on your system, and you might not be able to toggle this on and off yourself. Now, if the default settings are enabled, you'll be able to see the toggle, and to be able to find it, head to Copilot, head to the three-dot menu, and then the toggle option will just be right there in that drop-down menu. It's on by default, so click it once to turn it off, click it again to re-enable it. Now, if you have it turned off, and then you ask Copilot a question, say about the weather forecast, then it won't be able to give you an accurate answer, and it will notify you, as you can see in this the bottom red box here, that the responses won't include the latest data from the web. Now, there's several reasons as to why your organization may want to disable web content responses. Firstly, doing so ensures that your sensitive information isn't being transmitted to external servers for query processing. For example, if you're asking Copilot to help you summarize or rewrite parts of a confidential document, then you should probably have web content turned off to avoid any risks of data leaks, for example. This setting can also help your organization adhere to data protection laws such as GDPR. Say if you're trying to get Copilot to process a set of customer data as well, then you, again, don't want that being leaked or sold or sent out to external servers. And another advantage of toggling this setting can be just to avoid any bias or misinformation about the subject or question in hand as well. This can be especially useful when you're asking Copilot to reference a company document, as it should, in theory, ensure that all the information included in its responses are accurate and representative of the reference document or file. As these technologies, like Copilot and other large language models, say ChatGPT, develop, and we start to understand more about their inner workings, it's important to have an option like this available to us so that we can at least try to be safer about our day-to-day use of Copilot. In a world, the one that we live in, that revolves around selling data, we have to aim to be as safe as we can with our policies and confidential documentation. And a feature like this is hopefully a step in the right direction to helping us be safer. This feature is due mid-January to late February. Sorry, excuse me. Now, onto some smaller updates that are coming again to Copilot, but they're just nice quality of life changes and perhaps don't warrant the full explanation that I've gone into for some of the others already. So I've just bundled them together. Firstly, you can improve the speed at which you break the white space on a new document. as soon, Copilot will include files and meetings based on your recent activity when suggesting prompts that you can use at the beginning of drafting a new document in Word. Next, when you're drafting content that's based on referenced sources, Copilot will include citations in the text that it generates, so it'll indicate references to the information within that content. As with a lot of these language models, you'll still probably need to take the source with a pinch of salt, as well, as it may still be inaccurate. But it certainly seems like a good start that they're thinking about the validity of the information that's coming up, and it'll hopefully, in particular, help with references to internal documents so that you can see just exactly where they've got this information from. And lastly, writing a prompt to draft content based on your selection. So when you highlight a sentence or two and try and get Copilot to help you with it, with your prompt to expand it, for example, it used to expand and go over a whole paragraph or the whole table or an entire list. But now you should be able to highlight or create a prompt based on a single highlighted sentence or line item. Now, all of these could combine together should hopefully improve your overall experience using Copilot by helping you get started faster with more relevant prompts, letting you check your validity quicker, and lastly, enabling you to be more precise when you're highlighting that information to include in your prompts. As Microsoft continue to improve Copilot, I'm sure more of us will start to embrace it as part of our day-to-day work, but it still has quite a long way to go, as we've found with a lot of things. And I don't know if you've come across it in Google, when you Google anything now and you get the AI response at the top that is hardly ever correct. They still have a lot of learning to do, but I do think they're going to be able to assist our day-to-day lives moving forward. So hopefully all of that improvement will come to Copilot as well. All of these updates are due between now and February, so let's keep an eye out on that, especially if you use Copilot a lot. Keep an eye out and let me know if you notice these changes. Similarly, here are a couple of smaller Outlook improvements that simply improve the way in which we use the application. Firstly, coming soon for Microsoft Outlook for iOS and Android, you can minimize draft emails and quickly access them again from the message list or the calendar view. This is just a quality of life change, but it will make it easier to multitask within the Outlook app. So say you're in the middle of drafting an email and then you get a response finally to that email that you've been waiting for all morning, or let's be honest, probably more likely you've been waiting all week for it, and you want to respond to it ASAP. You can then click the minus sign in the top right hand corner to minimize the draft. Then while you respond to another email, you can do it again. And to have another draft of another email, say it happens another time, you get distracted again. Well, all of these drafts can be saved in the same place. Along those lines, I don't know about you, but I can be quite bad for reacting to new notifications or emails before I finish my current task. And so something like this, while you're on the move, doing emails on your phone, this can actually be a bit of a lifesaver in that situation, I imagine. Now, you can quickly access all of those drafts again from the message list. So in the middle of that screenshot, there's a red box at the bottom, and in the middle of that, there's a little white circle with a little 3 on it. So that has 3 draft messages that you've saved, and if you click into that, you'll get the screen on the right-hand side. And then you can just tap into those and continue to type away and draft the emails that you were originally typing. Now, this one is due anytime now through to February. Moving on to New Outlook for the Windows app, and so the desktop version. Web links from emails within the New Outlook app will now open side by side with the email within Microsoft Edge. So you can very easily reference the link that you've clicked alongside the email without switching back and forth between the apps. So that's particularly useful if you're just working off of one screen, for example. Now, it's important to note here that the links that you click within Outlook will always open in Microsoft Edge, even if it's not the system default browser in Windows. So Even if it's not your go-to browser, you can still multitask with it. It's not ideal that it opens that way, but I know a lot of users are still using Microsoft Edge as well, so perfect in that world. These quality of life changes are the sorts of updates that might go unnoticed or certainly might not get talked about all that much. But in reality, these are the sorts of updates that help us get through our daily tasks just a little bit easier. And these are the sort of updates that I really rate because in theory, they take a little less dev time. But of course, I understand that that's not always going to be the case. But they can have big knock-on effects as well, saving us time and making us all just that little bit more efficient as well. Now, this one is due sometime in February. Okay, and that's us today for the feature updates. I just want to quickly let you know about the next webinar in this series that will be coming next month. So it'll be taking place on Thursday, the 6th of February, so only a few weeks away now. And you can register for that now on our website or through the link that my colleague is going to post into the chat just now. We look forward to seeing you all there. And if there are any topics or questions that you wish for me to cover in the next webinar, then please just get in touch with me. I'll be happy to have a look. That should be the link in the chat just now. So if you want to make sure that the event is in your diary, then please go ahead and register now. Remember, all of these webinars are recorded and accessible through our YouTube channel and website. So please make sure that you have a look through them if you're interested in learning some more. I'll now quickly take you through our stakeholder workshop that Bedroq run, called the 8 Rocks Assessment. It goes back to those 8 rocks I talked through right at the very beginning of the webinar. It's a stakeholder workshop designed to get consensus on your business priorities. It can be conducted face-to-face or virtually, and it gets your leaders and investors aligned behind the best way to fully assess your IT strategy. Important to note, there's no cost implications with this other than a mutual investment of time. So if you're an IT leader at your organization and you need a bit of backup to prove to the CFO that you need to make an investment into your IT, or perhaps you're just looking to better use your existing IT investments, well, we're happy to look at all of these things. So let us know if this is something that might interest you, and we'll be happy to set this up and introduce you to the team that will walk you through this process. So we have a bit of time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please just pop them in. I'm just going to have a drink of water and see what's come through. Okay, so we have a question asking about the content feature within Copilot. The enterprise data protection is to guarantee data is safe within the company, right? As far as I understand, yes. If we use web content, does this mean we're at risk at leaking data? I think it's one of those things that we just have to be careful of doing. I can't guarantee one way or the other if you would be safe using it or not safe using it. But it's one of those things, as I say, as soon as you type in something to Copilot, it is having to send data somewhere to then be able to get a response back from there. So if it's looking through a file, then perhaps that information is moving as well. And as I say, the world currently revolves around selling people's data. So whether that's just what you're typing into your search engine or if it's documentations, I'm not 100% sure. These policies should be in place to keep us safe, but as I say, I can't fully say one way or the other, but better to be safe than sorry. And you can always talk to your admin guys as well and just see what they know about it as well. And we have another question asking if we can switch off the clicking on links within Outlook, and it'll, in the new Outlook app that is, and it'll open up Microsoft Edge. Currently, as far as I know, there's not a way to change that, but I'm pretty sure if you're asking the question, lots of other people will be wanting to ask the same question and to make sure that they get the use of their own default browsers that they're used to doing. So there might be a setting within Outlook that we can change for that. But as I say, the setting's not out yet. The feature isn't out yet, sorry. So once it does come out, I can go and have a look and I can rummage around and see if there is a way to turn it off. Hopefully there is, because I know we have lots of things saved on our own browsers and it's more useful to be able to do it that way for multitasking. But As I say, I can't say for sure. It didn't mention it in the update. Okay. You're very welcome for the answer there. Okay, so that is everything for us today. If you have any more questions, perhaps while you're looking through the fact sheet later today, please feel free to just reply to that email that I'll be sending out with the recording. I'll be happy to help with any queries about content in this webinar or anything else that comes to mind. So we can look to cover those suggestions in the future as well. So again, thank you very much for joining us today, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Goodbye.